Hello guys, this is Ronnie from the April 2020 batch. Today I'm going to be going over assignment 3. I'm only going to be doing number 1 and number 2. And as you can see, each number is commented out right next to the work. So first of all, I want to explain number 1. Number 1, it says given n, print this pattern n 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So first of all, when we read that, we understand that we're going to be working with a loop. And so recalling the loop pattern that we learned in our class Sunday, so we have to do for int to start it, and we do parentheses, and then inside of the parentheses we have to do a variable, well, pretty much a character. So in this case we use n just because the problem tells us to use n. And so we say n is equal to 0 semicolon, n is less than or equal to 20 semicolon, n is equal to n plus 4. So what does that all mean? Basically, so that means that n is gonna have to start at 0. So this is a starting point. It doesn't always have to be 0, but in our example it says 0 is the first number, and so we know we're gonna start with 0. And then after that, where do we end? So the second thing we put after where we start is where we end. So we know we're gonna end at 20 in this case, so that's why n is less than or equal to 20. But it could also be n is less than 21, as long as it makes sense in this equation. And then lastly, we're gonna do n is equal to, so we're gonna do n is equal to n plus 4. So that's how we want to move from one number to the other. So what increment are we following? So in this case we're moving up by 4, but it could be different. It could be by 1, it could be by however you want. And then so obviously we want to be able to display what the loop is doing. So this is important. After you finish the formula version, after you finish with the formula, we do system.outprint, and then we put n inside. So all the work is going to be done automatically by Java. So let's run it, and you can see that it does exactly what we want it to do. 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So we don't always have to do println. What we want to put here is what's going to remain consistent, and so far we've just learned about putting system.out.println. So that's just for the first number. So for the second one, it's pretty much the same thing, but in this case we're using scanner. So scanner is something we learned in Saturday's class, and we're combining it with loop. So it says, let's assume the number is 5, so let's just enter 5 and see what it does. So for number 2, it just wants us to finish the pattern for the user. So whatever the user enters, the machine is supposed to logically finish that pattern. So in this case it's 5, so the program should print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So in my case, I just told it to start at 1 because I thought it was redundant to do 5 2 times, but you know, you can do it just as 5, and it's okay. It can run like that. So we can enter it, do 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So for here, our starting point is going to have to be whatever the user enters, and I already went over scanner, so I'm not going to go over it again in this assignment, but n is going to be equal to whatever the user chooses to enter. And then where we're going to be ending at is n is going to be greater than or equal to 0. So n is going to end at 0 basically. And how we're going to go from one number to the next is by -1. So after you do that, it should be relatively easy, and then the program, as you can see, prints out 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So thank you. That's all I have for you right now, and yeah, thank you.